What is up, guys? Welcome back to a brand new video, and today I wanted to talk about my first experience of a Naoki Urasawa manga, and that is through the perfect edition of 20th Century Boys, Volume 1. I was kind of deciding whether to read this first or Monster first because I have the first three perfect editions for that series, but I just thought this would be an easier way to kind of start with Naoki Urasawa. And it's kind of one thing that I'm very happy about is the fact that I decided to wait this long before reading this series, or a Naoki Urasawa work just in general, because I had planned to read it ages ago through Monster, but I waited and I waited, and I think I'm happy because I can understand and appreciate the work more now that I've just read more manga. So I'm kind of happy that I read this past 150 volumes rather than the past 50 volumes, because I just think I can appreciate it more, and I would recommend reading an Naoki Urasawa work, but just later, once you've experienced a lot of other manga and read a lot more titles. Now, I think just based on this one volume, Naoki Urasawa has probably become my favourite manga writer. I don't know what it is about this, but I've found it difficult to talk about the series, and I've tried to make a few videos on it, but I just started rambling on about random stuff, so I'm just going to try and keep this compact and tight in the stuff that I talk about. Now, the first thing I want to touch on is just the release. This is a fantastic little release, and I'm very happy that I decided to go with this and get rid of my original Volume 1, which I had. And I'm very happy I decided to do that, because these are fantastic releases, and the coloured pages in it are great. The only problem I have with it is that they changed these to Japanese as opposed to English. I don't know, I don't really see the reason behind that. I know they want to keep it close to the source material, but I just don't really see the point for it. And other than that, let's go to the artwork. The artwork's good. I think that the artwork kind of grows on you. At the beginning, I wasn't really a fan of it, but I can kind of see how people really like Naoki Urasawa's artwork, and I definitely enjoy it the more I go through the series. So that's just kind of two things I want to touch on before I get into Naoki Urasawa himself in terms of his writing. So now I'll move on to that. And I think what's so interesting about this series in particular is how the characters feel so realistic and so much like real people that you could just meet on the street every day. But how the concept of the series as a whole is so unique and different, and how like the friend and the kind of cult group that they've made links into them being kids and stuff, all of that kind of linking together is so complex and so different and so interesting. But the characters within the series are just so plain and boring and normal people. It's just so it's different, and I think that every single one of them as an adult is a real person. Seems like a real person facing real midlife and post midlife struggles and crisis, and the way that it shows them being kids, having all these aspirations and goals, and thinking that they're going to be crazy, life-changing people in a gang that kind of saves the world, and how that translates to them being adults with actual problems and struggling real life things and getting married and having kids and all this. It's weird because it's so real, and so many kids think they're going to be superheroes and astronauts and stuff, and just end up being normal regular people, and that is portrayed so excellently through this work. And I think that Naoki Urasawa has found a really good way of having social commentary through his media of manga. And I just think that that's one thing I want to touch on with his characters, and how they're just such average people, but they have such importance in the story, and obviously by the end of it they are going to save the world, because you see that through the first chapter. And I don't think that knowing how the series is going to end plays any dividends at all to impacting the series negatively, because the journey, I think, kind of finding out who the friend is and what the cult actually means is so much more interesting than the ending of the story itself. So I don't think that Naoki Urasawa has impacted this series negatively in any way through revealing that they do eventually save the world, because it's nice seeing them as kids and knowing that they will eventually aspire and meet what they wanted to do as kids. And then you kind of get the elements of just stuff that aren't regular and aren't every day, through like the murders and the cult group, which are still such interesting parts of the story. And I think Urasawa's found a perfect balance between what is realistic and kind of unique in his story and stuff that will never really happen in real life, like crazy mouth-shaped nuclear bombs and stuff. It's just not something that you're very likely to see in your lifetime. But these kind of characters are, and the fact that those two will eventually meet is just pretty crazy. Yeah, sorry about that, guys. Yeah, so what I was saying is his characters are just so plain, but they're so great at the same time, and that balance that he's found is just perfect. And I think that his story is just so interesting. There's so many things that happen within it that make you ask questions, and introduces just a great amount of concepts and stuff. And I just think his series will all come together at the end with all these ideas that he's put in within it. And I've just heard great things about the series, so I'm very interested to find out how it ends. But as a whole, it's just really good. Really enjoyed it. And I think I'm going to enjoy Monster more because it's just got better ratings, but I never know, to be honest. But just, I do really like Naoki Urasawa's writing. He just writes like no other mangaka, to be honest. And I struggle to find even a genre for this series because it's just got so many different ideas in it. And I don't think that having a genre really helps it and makes it any different of a series, because I think that it just takes it to implement so many different things within it that it just becomes its own unique identity. And I think that most of other Naoki Urasawa series is just going to be the same. So if Naoki Urasawa is more of the same in other series, then I'm very much looking forward to reading more from him, because he has such great characters and such at the same time his characters are so boring, but they're so interesting at the same time because of how they were as kids and what impact they have on the story as a whole. I'm still looking to find out and still interested to understand, but just even the struggles that they go through every day and them going through those problems and stuff, I think that the fact that Urasawa's kind of implemented them is just fantastic to help you understand the characters and get a better idea of them. So I tried to touch on that a bit quicker this time because the other videos were like 20 minutes long. So I think that 7 minutes is good, and if there's anything that I haven't touched on that you want to talk about, just let me know in the comment section down below. And if there's any more videos you want me to make with 20th Century Boys or Monster, then let me know, because I'll definitely be reading those soon. I definitely want to pick up Pluto and Master Keaton as well. But I'll focus on these two Naoki Urasawa works for now. Other than that, hopefully you guys are having a great day, and peace.